Welcome to Fast CPR. We offer thousands of healthcare provider BLS classes and first aid, CPR, and AED classes each year. Don't wait weeks or months for your certification card to arrive in the mail. We issue cards on the same day before you leave the teaching facility. We offer on-site training at your company location anywhere in Oahu. We can train your employees one at a time or in smaller large groups. Easy invoicing and billing options. Cards issued the same day. We work hard to get everyone in Hawaii into a CPR class as fast as possible. Training manuals are available. We will get your CPR card without delay. We offer both traditional and classroom courses and online e-learning courses that are accessible 24 hours a day, serving all Oahu businesses with their training and compliance needs. Take a class at our first-rate training facility or let us come to your business.